I want you to say that word again. What word was that?
Mahim?
Otherwise known as Mannheim.
Mannheim, there we go.
That's where
That's the word you're trying to say. Mannheim.
Mahim.
Yeah, there's letters in there that you've missed.
I didn't. I got them all. Some are silent.
That's where we spent some time in Mannheim when the van broke down on the way to Italy.
Oh, is that where you had to stop?
Yeah, I've got some bad memories of that place.
I've got some bad memories.
That's why I asked you if it's a nice place.
Very expensive.
You could have worse memories if you go to the next show.
I went to the zoo 2 days running just to pass some time.
There's a massive zoo in there. There's a massive zoo.
Yeah.
I might have a word with my gaffer. Can I nip to the zoo instead of going to the show?
Yeah, stop the
It's
show.
really good.
Just halfway through.
Yeah, just
do a
just
shift.
slide away.
Yeah. Has anyone seen Ed? There's just an
Is it the
Instagram
zoo?
of you with a gorilla.
Might be a gorilla on the bed.
There could be a gorilla on the bed.
Well, they could fit a gorilla on the bed because they are hardy, sturdy beds. I'm good at this. See, I think I should do what's it called? I've decided this after listening to myself. I could
Are you
do those
a radio presenter?
all terms and conditions are notified.
Yeah, you should. Yeah,
Yeah.
you could do. You
Annual
could.
APR 2.5%.
The end, you know. Can you do it in a more violently Valley accent, though? Because you go a bit posh.
Do I?
When you do your terms and conditions apply, yeah.
All right, but so what it is, see, is 2% APR, and if you don't like it, tough.
That's how on the whole podcast.
Nan, and I'll sort out with it.
We'd need a translator if we had you do it for the whole podcast, wouldn't we?
Well, you got to remember, I'm not actually Welsh.
You just lived there since you were 7.
4.
Okay.
Where are you originally from?
Do you not know this?
No.
He's a Kent.
I'm from Kent.
You're from Kent.
I'm a man of Kent.
You're a man of Kent.
Well, people used to call me it load.
He's a bit
so I just
Kentish.
assumed it.
Just went for it.
Hellish Kentish.
I didn't know that. No, I did not know that.
So I'm like probably the most English person here.
Mm.
It's the Garden of England, mate.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it is.
Well, I was born in Malta, so
Yeah, I was gonna say,
keep
you're
me out of
Maltese,
it.
yeah.
I'm not Maltese.
Lanzarote boy, you.
Yeah.
Born in England, though. Yeah, it explains Frank's tan, to be fair, if he's
Yeah,
Maltese.
yeah.
Doesn't it? He's been-
Part Italian as well, yeah.
So you were born in Malta.
My mum and dad were in the Royal Navy and they were stationed there. My mum was in the Wrens, my
Yeah.
dad was in the Royal Navy.
Yeah.
And there was a naval base, so I was born in the naval base. Not even in a hospital, just in the storeroom.
Just on the parade square.
She just popped me out in wherever she was stood.
And that's baby Frank.
Frank is a Maltese falcon.
Didn't
I've got
you?
dual nationality, so it's good. So if it kicks off with Putin, I could just bugger off to Malta and claim
It'll be straight
citizenship.
over, right?
If the fallout don't get me.
No, you'd be right. No one's bombing Malta, are
Yeah.
they?
Oh,
Let's
this
be
got
honest.
political very quickly as
It
well.
did get
It's
very
from
political
Putin, isn't it?
quickly.
While we're on that subject, that's why you should never buy Russian underpants. You know why? Because Chernobyl fallout.
And that's the soundbite. Thank you
That
very
is,
much.
can't beat a cheeky little Frank joke to get you going for the day. Right, let's get going.
I was a robber, but I was like a Robin Hood style. Like,
I think you get done a lot.
Basically, I thought I'm going to try it without a lead.
if you could take everything you know now and all the kit you now back in time, would you catch a ton more carp?
You were in the business if you were doing that.
I remember trying it when I saw it in the mags 15 years ago. And I just sat there all night getting...
You never had that back in the day.
I'm part of the problem. I'm not going to deny it. You know, I've got a bait boat.
Every day
imagine?
just sat there in the evening rolling. Like I used to get various girlfriends that I had at the time helping me roll the bait.
So on a fishing podcast, what we're saying is dream thingers don't have any anglers.
Get on the dicks.
Trakker Talk, a carp fishing podcast.
Welcome back to the Trakker Talk podcast. Around the table, you've got your regulars, Ed Betteridge, Frank Warwick, John Flewin, and myself, Adam Johnston. How have we all been doing, boys?
Start with Ed.
Start with Ed. How have you been doing?
Very good.
Very good, yeah.
Been in Tenerife for a week.
Yeah, you've been sunning it up,
I've
haven't
been
you?
sunning it up, getting a bit of winter sun. Looking at social media and seeing it's frosty outside when I'm sitting there in my shorts in the sun enjoying life. So yes, it's been nice.
It's not a bad one, really, is it? Have you been
No.
doing much, Frank? You've been out fishing?
Yeah,
or?
I went on the syndicate in Cheshire. I went with Guy and my eldest son. And we usually do 48 together, which is the limit that you can do. And funny enough, that lake's got not two swims together, basically, where you're both going to stand a chance.
Yeah,
It's literally one of you's camping and the other one's on the spot.
he's catching.
Yeah. So the week before, it was my turn to get on one of the better areas. So I caught 2 fish. And then it was Guy's turn. So the first night he didn't have anything. And at this time of the year, it's predominantly night bites, or just before first light as well. And he says, what do you reckon the chances are? Because I know it really well, that water. I says, me, nothing. I'm not going to catch. I know I'm not. Unless it's a miracle. I says, but you, I think you're at 75%. He went, 75%? I says, what do you reckon? He says, 25%. I said, no, more than that. And then he came in the morning when we were like, all the inside of the bivvy was froze solid, -3. And it just got light. And I thought he wants a cup of tea because he normally lets me do all the,
Makes you do the brewing up.
I'm like, the usual flunky. And he said, anything, Dad? I said, no, not a bleep. How about you? Yeah, I've had 2.
See, I hate it when people do it that way.
It's the worst.
I hate it when people do it. You had anything to eat? No, I'm eat crap in it. No, well, maybe for you it is.
rubbing
my
it in.
knees all the time driving bad.
It was good in the ad as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, we
It's a
thought
banger.
it was one of the big ones at first because he was mistaken because he doesn't know the fish as well as me. We thought it was one of the 40s. And I went over and looked at it and I said, it's big, but I don't think it's a 40. And then he looked at it and said, maybe it's not. So we weighed it and it was surprisingly small. It was 32.6.
I'll
But
do
it was
that.
a hell of a fish,
Yeah,
though.
it's good
Cracker.
Oh, yeah. Banger.
Mega
I'll throw
fish.
it up now, to
Yeah.
be fair. Really nice
Yeah,
fish.
beautiful, yeah.
Really nice
So I was
fish.
dead chuffed for him,
What about you? Because it's obviously been Christmas since
Yeah,
the
I
last
went fishing in
podcast.
Blank.
And did you go fishing?
Yeah.
You kept
Yeah.
that really quiet, didn't
No,
you?
did I post it once?
Oh, did you?
I was watching. Now
Thank
you
you,
gone.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You went with Ian,
Sandhurst,
didn't you?
Sandhurst
Yeah.
with Mr. Russell for
Waste
our
of
Christmas.
time.
No, well, listen, it's never a waste of time going away from the house after
Well,
Christmas.
no,
is
it's a
it?
good point, yeah. But no fish.
Nothing. We didn't actually see a fish.
Oh, really? That bad?
Like, see a fish.
Yeah.
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 But
you
I
had a
went
social.
fishing.
At the end of the day, I think winter's good, isn't it? For a knees up sometimes and a catch up with your
Mate,
mates.
this is
and,
what winter fishing is, isn't it? Is socials and short sessions.
Yeah,
Can't
100%.
short session because there's nowhere around me, so I just socialise. So,
Yeah, you may as well. You
Yeah.
may as well.
and you know what? I completed that.
Completed, nailed it. Yeah. You definitely didn't blank on the socialisation.
Socialisation.
That's how you
boxed
do it. That is how you do it. Well, I've done no carping again.
You've done pike though.
I went piking, yeah. I went piking, got lucky. It's good this time of year. I like doing a bit of all sorts anyway, but it's the same. Like you do your social fishing in the winter. I do
You've
my...
got no friends, so you just go pike fishing.
Nobody likes me, so I go fish for other stuff.
Well, if
But,
we're talking about other species, I had some wrasse, mullet, and sea bass.
oh, did you fish while you were out there? Of course you did.
Oh no, I thought you had like a fruit de mer.
Flew the mare.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah,
on.
yeah. That's a seafood platter, isn't
Is it?
it? Someone Google it.
So get it up.
Get it up.
It probably is
Yeah,
right.
fruit
I
de
think you're
mer
right.
is of the sea.
Yeah.
I think it's
I
fruit of
think
the
you're right.
sea's platter.
Yeah.
In
Nice.
French.
No, in
Yeah.
something in another language.
Not English.
Not English.
Well, for this week's podcast, we've got a topic that I think is going to get different views from around the table. Very much picked it because Frank's going to be great on this one, but it's going to be an interesting one to go around, and it is modern carp angling versus old school thinking.
There we go.
I want to talk about how carp fishing's evolved, bait, tech, rigs, all the jazz that's going on now with it, and what you think about it, whether it's better now, whether it was better back then, whether it's just rose-tinted glasses, and whether you think it's going in the right direction with more things getting involved or not. So there's only one person to start
Yeah,
with,
100%.
obviously. So
Ed.
He's Ed.
Here we go. It depends how far you want to go back and how far you want to drill down on this thing. I mean, I started in the 80s. I know Frank started much before me, and things were quite exciting then because it was a niche hobby. There was a lot of
Yeah.
match anglers around, a lot of river anglers around. The carp angler, the specimen hunter was something a bit kind of, well, certainly in Derbyshire, a bit kind of like, oh, you're going after them, are you, son? It was
Yeah.
that kind of that kind of thing. So it was very, very exciting back then. But those rigs and the kit we use then would still catch fish now.
Yeah.
Would it be as effective as what we've got now? I don't think it would.
No?
No, but, I was. I used to
So
fish.
what were you using?
Well, the same rig that he uses now.
When
Still the same one that he keeps sharpening, it is.
I was 13 years older, I caught a 21-pound pike, and my uncle sent it off to the Daily Star, and I won a pike rod. So one rod was a pike rod.
Yes.
The other
Nice.
rod was a 1.25 pound Avon. I could afford one alarm, and I had one reel on the clutch. So that's the way I started carp fishing, with an Avon on the clutch, Optonic. What's a basic? A compact.
Compacts, yeah.
So it literally, if it rained, you couldn't hear it. If you're more than 10 yards away, you couldn't hear it. And that's how I started. But I can remember there was a lake I used to fish called Willsey Lake. It was lovely, estate lake. Stream came in one side, very, very shallow, then got down to the deeps and stream went back out the other side. Lovely place to fish. And the back of that island was a chuck and a half with a kit I had, and nobody could quite do it. And if it was flat, calm, or the wind behind me, I could just get near the trees. But quite often I was just sort of falling 10 yards short in this gully. I went back recently, and honestly, it's
25 yards, isn't it?
It's an 8-yard chuck.
75, 80
Oh, yeah.
yards.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's still a chuck for them, though.
Oh, yeah.
back
It
then.
was.
That's
But I was giving it large, and, looking back at the reels I had then, and the line lay was just up and down. It was terrible. It just really belted it on I think I had a Browning on one rod and a Daiwa 300, not Daiwa 300, a Mitchell 300 on the other rod.
Yeah, boy.
And it was just,
Proper old school.
hard work. Fishing backwind as well, because we didn't have a proper clutch. So you got proper churn and the backwind was going, and the fish stopped, the backwind overshot, and you just had a line everywhere.
Big old overrun.
Yeah, you had to be on it quick. So from the distance perspective and how far you could actually fish effectively and cast effectively, I think you'd be right behind the 8 ball now. To try and take that to a big water, you'd be struggling. And as well, the amount of tangles you used to have, because all we used to have then was merlin and silkworm and your sort of really soft coated braid. We didn't really use stiff materials then. So we had a lot of tangles. Quite often, helicopter rig naked all the way through to the lead.
Oh, so it's just frapping up on the chuck. Every
quite
time.
often. Landed in the silt, pulled it out the silt.
Yes.
Again, we didn't
Unplug in, mate.
Unplugging, yeah.
Yeah. So I think if we were fishing a small water and I could watch the rig through the air, I'm confident I could catch a good number of fish, but not as many as what I can catch now with modern rigs, modern techniques. But you can still catch on a very, very supple rig.
Yeah.
And I did a bit of experiment a few years ago when I was fishing Monk's Pit and a few other places, and the bigger fish tended to come to the soft braid rig as opposed to a hinge stiff or the more likely the sort of fluorocarbon rig. So I fished a fluorocarbon rig with a wafter on and a braided rig next to it with a wafter on. The fluorocarbon rig outfished it, I think 2 or 3 to 1, but the cotton rig as such tended to do the bigger fish. So I think there's a little bit in that.
Do you think, like, I know obviously you mentioned that, like, Grower uses famously really supple rigs all the time and he catches a lot of big uns. And I know I've spoke to you about that you've mentioned to me when we were doing some filming about your supple braided rig when you were using it on an underwater that we were doing. Do you think that the reason that actually works, so do you think it is because it's better tactics that have been forgotten about, or do you think it's just that it's not as effective, so you get 10 fish coming, you swim, do you? And then you get a pick up on that rig. What do you think it is?
I think you get done a lot. So like, on Monk's Pit when I was playing around with that, I was doing underwater with Rob Hughes. He turned up for a feature with Carpology. I'd literally got the rods out just as he was turning up, and by the time he got the scuba gear and got sorted, it was probably about an hour or so later by the time he went out. And he come back and he showed me a photograph of the braided rig, and it had gone round a stem and come back on itself. So it was sitting there, sort of lead was there, sitting back on itself like that. It's like, how do you think that happened? I says, well, I've obviously been done. There's no way that happened in the cast.
Drilled, yeah.
So I'd obviously been done in that hour that the rods was out. And I think that's it about the braided rigs. They get turned over so much because the hooking potential is a bit crap. Unless the fish picks it up and moves off, then it isn't going to, I don't think it's going to hook properly. But I think it goes in the mouth much easier than a stiff rig.
Yep.
And that stiff rig's harder to come out.
Yeah.
So there's always that playoff.
The balance with it.
Yeah. So I think you get done more on a supple rig, but it goes in the fish's mouth a lot easier than a stiff rig. And maybe the bigger carp are moving around a little bit, or they suck it up and
it just works
it out a few
differently.
times. Yeah, maybe they don't know they've had a rig in the mouth and just keep feeding, and eventually
and
gets
don't realise.
it. Maybe a smaller fish is a bit more sensitive to it and realises that there's a big old hook in there and spits it and spooks.
Yeah,
Not sure, but so, it definitely makes a difference in terms of fish.
Before we kind of move to Frank's initial views of it, is there anything that you'd say from the past that you wish was still something, or you think should come back into the modern carp scene? So whether that be tactical,
etiquette.
whether it be venue,
Quiet banks and etiquette. That would be lovely. If the banks was as quiet as what they were then, to what they are now. And they weren't quite where I was fishing, wasn't quite, but it was match anglers. It was loads of pleasure anglers.
Right, okay.
This, that, and the other. So you could slip in as a carp angler. It's great fun. But now you look at a lot of these busy day ticket waters now, and they're absolutely rammed. You never had that back in the day. There was never that many carp anglers around. I'm not complaining because now I've made a living in the industry.
So on a fishing podcast, what we're saying is
Stop
dream
going.
seekers don't have any anglers.
Just don't fish the lake I'm fishing.
That's good. Yeah, actually, what we want is more anglers, but it's not on my lake.
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly.
No, it's always nice to have a few anglers dotted around, so it keeps the fish moving. But
not too many.
As long as I can get in a decent swim and
You're an
do what I
happy
want
boy.
to do.
I love that. What would you bring back? Less people.
What would you say, Frank, for what's your views on the modern versus the old school scene as a whole, tech, everything about it?
It's obviously,
how would you compare them?
Obviously, it's a different world.
Yeah.
The modern carp scene, I think if you could get in a TARDIS and go back to when I started, a lot of these modern carp anglers that weren't doing it in 1970, which is when I started fishing for carp, they wouldn't believe what we used to have to go through. Just in winter, for example, I like winter fishing, and I was only 10 then, and I was doing nights and things, but the gear was totally inadequate. It was just like a joke. It was almost like a question of, is he going to still be alive in the morning?
Oh, really?
Doing nights at 10?
Yeah. I think my mum and dad was secretly trying to get rid of me.
Yeah, Frank, just go down the lake again.
Go and fish in that park over there that's full of pervs. No, I think you wouldn't dream of it now.
No.
I mean,
No, God.
when I was 10, for example, I used to have to catch 3 buses to school on the other side of Manchester.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I went to the art school, and it was right on the opposite side of Manchester, and 3 buses each way at 10. Well, 11, you know what I mean? So very independent I was.
You had to grow up tough, Frank, in them days.
Yeah. And I think now you'd be terrified with a 10, 11-year-old letting them go night fishing. You'd be thinking, Christ, because media's kind of scared everybody. I mean, it's causing a lot of problems as it is, the media.
Yeah.
Because it does scare you when you read it. You think, oh, we're being invaded, or this, that, and the other. There's all kinds of issues. So we were blissfully unaware of it was still a dangerous world there,
Yeah, but it was
not as
hidden.
dangerous. Yes.
Yeah.
So you weren't sort of petrified. Oh, it's dangerous. You weren't reading about all these horrible things. So you were in your own little world. And I was like Ed. I used to have all odd rods. I remember Woolworths used to do their own fishing gear. It was a right look, really, when you think about it. But it was a question of, I used to save up my spends, and it was a question of whether I could afford the £6 rods or get the £5 rods, but the £6 rods were almost unobtainable, that extra quid.
Oh, really?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there were 3 pieces, so they had a separate butt. And they were probably floppy little things, about £2 test curve they would be now. And we classed them as, these are brilliant.
These are the boys.
And then obviously things moved on. I remember I went on holiday in Torquay, and I was only young, probably about 15, and I tripped over a wallet with 120 quid in it. And it didn't have any cards in it, or
obviously you returned it.
Tripped over the bloke's pocket.
So straight into Tucker's and bought some Tag Barnes special 10.5 foot carp rods.
Is that what you did? Went and treated yourself?
Yeah, I got some carp rods out there with the wallet money, so that was brilliant. And then I got some Klooper carp, the old Jim Gibbinson Kloopers, and I thought they were amazing. With the little abbreviated handles, like the old Kevin Maddox style handles. And when you look at them now, they'd be totally inadequate, just like a whip. It's like having a whip with eyes on it.
Really now.
Yeah, no. And I didn't have bite alarms, couldn't afford them until I was about 14. So I used to just stare at the
like a horse.
Squeezy bottle tops we used to have. We used to go into the supermarket. Now, washing up liquid, fairy liquid. We used to just open them up and clip them on your line, and that was your indicator.
The old indicators.
The dink of a bit in the rod.
Yeah. So what we used to do was, we liked the white ones for night fishing. So we would go in a lot of supermarkets looking for the white ones, and we'd take different colour ones in and swap them.
It's good you actually swap them.
Yeah, you can.
Well, we just take
loads of bottles of loads of fairy liquid bottles with just nothing on the top.
Yeah, etiquette.
Yeah, yeah. I was a robber, but I was like a Robin Hood style. Took the white from the rich.
So there was. My dad would have killed me, But so I was always scared of doing out wrong like that, But And then I used to go night fishing. And I remember once I was on the stock pond at Capesthorne in Cheshire. And it's a stately home. And that was like the beginners sort of area, that was smaller pond, overstocked. And I remember this guy called Bob, who was like a more experienced carp angler. He had the Mark IV Dick Walker carp rods. We're like, oh my God, have you seen them rods that Bob's got? We're like in awe of it, you know. And he was way ahead of his time. He had a jam jar with a bicycle battery in it with a light bulb so he could see his bobbins twitching in the dark.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's properly doing it.
And then he had the heron bite alarms as well, which was like, oh my God, look at that.
Yeah,
you know,
the
you
gear.
can only dream about stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I used to sit awake all night. You know, you'd hear, like Ed said, you'd hear it crack the butt on the rod.
You'd hear the clink.
Yeah, you'd hear crack like that. And then you really be churdy. You're like, oh, shit. You know? And then freelining as well. We didn't use leads a lot of the time.
That's the other thing, isn't it? So like tactics have changed so much, haven't they, really?
Can you imagine it now? I was going to do it as a thing as when we're out filming. I still want to do it, actually. I want to turn up on somewhere that's well stocked, like Cuttle Mill or something like that. Or wherever, you know, it doesn't matter. And try paste baits with a hook inside.
Buried in.
Like buried with free lining like we used to do. I just want to try it and see what happens.
Imagine, I've always...
You've got to have like you can't just do that with normal kit. You've got to be doing it.
Yeah, you've got to go old school.
Yeah, you'd have to have like, I remember watching Mark Pictures when he said that he was on the dicks. You know, the old Dick Walker rods. He does make me laugh. This is hilarious, isn't he? Get on the dicks.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, I'd have to have all the gear.
Yeah.
Full old school.
I'd have to get some squeezy bottle tops and everything, do it very retro.
Yeah, Joe Morgan's done the stuff with he's got his granddad's like split king rod, like you just go.
I've got a cane rod in my office.
Yeah, there we are. Sweet.
Cool.
Right, this is a film. Put it in the diary.
We put it in. Yeah. Frank goes fishing with paste.
Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you something that was interesting. I went and Cuttle Mill many years ago, and I went in the winter. It was snowing. And I was going to do a feature, and basically I thought I'm going to try it without a lead on the rig. This is interesting, this. So what I did, I fished the main line and I put it through a PVA bag.
Just as a
mesh
casting
bag,
weight, basically.
Like funnel web type sort of mesh like that, you know. That was the casting weight. And I got the rig with a supple hair with a boilie on it. And I just pulled it into the bag with pellet in it, chopped boilies, and some bits and pieces, salted sweet corn in it. And I fished it against my go-to very best setup, which at the time was like a Christen multi-strand on a combi link.
Yeah.
With Maruta Kinroos or owner hooks at the spade ends that were dead sharp for that period, probably about late 80s. And, you know, this was when Kristen was just starting to introduce some of the braids and bits and pieces. And the multi-strand was one of the go-to products that we loved. You know, anyway, I fished it against that. I remember I even put a little I found one of them old optonic sort of half hemispheres that you clip together, that were the lightest indicators ever. You'd use them for roach or something.
Yeah, you know? Tiny things.
And I put one of them on because I was freelining. I didn't want to pull the hook bait out of the bag once it had all broke down. I only had a 3112 on the free-lined one, basically almost free-line.
Mad, innit, really? Yeah. It shows that it still would work. You know, it's just because we've moved away from them tactics doesn't mean they won't work.
Exactly. But what was weird was that I tore a rotational cuff casting with no lead on, just a bag. It's almost like you've had a crack off and there's no resistance.
Like when you throw a ball that's too light, innit?
Exactly.
When you go to lob
then all of a sudden you're like that, I couldn't put my seatbelt on going home.
Oh, really?
No. So it's interesting.
No, I've seen a few people in kind of relatively modern-ish times doing like the free lining just with leg core in the edge and stuff. I remember seeing it in mags years ago. I saw someone, I can't remember who it was, on social last year, someone known talking about they'd had a few doing it. And I remember trying it when I saw it in the mags 15 years ago. And I just sat there all night getting, I've just been done again.
Yeah. You get turned over a lot doing that, but yeah.
Wounded in the morning, all three of my lines were like away from the margins, straight out in front where I'd just been hounded.
Did Frank just put his hand up?
No. Well, you have to try and stop him. You need a crop to shut him up. You're like that. You need the electric shock button. Like, Mr. Presenter. Like that. Anyway, what I was going to say is, this is just, it's a little bit off the cuff, but it's a little bit interesting. It's just come to my mind, and I thought, while we're talking about extremes, I used to experiment how long a hook length I could catch fish on.
What to try real long stuff, you mean?
8 feet was the longest with a bottom bait.
I've done that with a zig.
I was going to say, someone's got many 8 foot of multi-strand.
No, listen, what happened was on Cape Thorne, and I used to fish down the middle arch. It's got like an ornamental bridge across it, and the middle arch in the winter was always the one off the dam wall, so I aimed down there. And if I wasn't catching on the snags, that would be my fallback to, definitely I'll salvage a bite. And I found the longer the hook length I was using, it would work, that single one bite that you needed, which was bizarre, really, because it wasn't that silty. And I couldn't explain it, but it worked. And it just looked ridiculous. And I just thought, well, it's working, so why should I bother? And then years later, I was doing there was a Cardiff festival, and I was doing a talk outside. But we all went, there was Jan Port, there was a load of us there, Nick Elliott, just a lot of the faces from the angling world. And a lot of juniors are coming because we're trying to get them into carp fishing. So we were getting runs. We're on that place where they used to, I think Chemo used to do match fishing on it near where, it was part of that British Waterways thing.
Yeah.
You know the one I mean?
Yeah. Anyway, carry on, because I'm
using an F, I think. That I just can't. It's gone, the name of the place. Anyway, very prolific. So we're all catching. I was catching on zigs. I was using them, ironically, about 7 feet long. And I had to go off and do the talk. And I was passing all the rods to these youngsters, and they were playing them and loving it. And then I had 2 pots that looked almost identical, and I'd got baits in there that looked like a chum mixer. And what I didn't tell Mike Hill, the guy who was with me as an assistant, that one of them was wafters and one's pop-ups. And there was a slight difference in the colour, and he didn't know this. So I went and did a talk for an hour, came back. He went, hey, mate, you never told me that they were wafters in there, quite fast-sinking wafters. So he says, we ran out of pop-ups. He says, so I didn't know. I just thought it was another pot of pop-ups, so I put them on and never checked them. And he said, and they've been sinking. So I'm using a 7-foot hook length with a zig setup with a fast-sinking wafter on and still catching loads of fish.
Yeah.
So he was catching on a 7-foot hook length on the bottom.
It's mad, isn't it, really, when you think about it? Like, we go short and short. Like, I like really short rigs. But, like you say, those big old long ones, it's like giving them enough rope to hang themselves, isn't it?
Do you know what? I know it would still work. I used to use long 8-pound Maxima hook lengths. Sometimes even 6 for big fish as well, 30s or upper 20s in the early 80s. And it worked brilliant. And I could catch more fish then on Reedsmere, for example, than I probably can now, because it's become more difficult. There's more anglers fishing, everything else. But I reckon I could still use them rigs and catch now. And who the hell uses 8-pound nylon as your hook length now?
Yeah, no one does it, do
Nobody
they?
does it.
Psychopaths.
But we use it on a zig without batting an eyelid.
Yeah.
So I think if you're struggling, because everyone's using coated hook lengths or stiff booms, and I think just reverting on one rod and trying that's very interesting. So I think there's still a little bit of old school mileage that might actually work now, is what I'm saying.
This comes around to what I was going to ask very quickly. Just a yes or no from both of you two, who obviously fished for a little bit longer than us.
Yeah.
If you could take everything you know now and all the kit you now back in time, would you catch a ton more carp?
Eric. Eric.
Yeah. Absolutely. Even
taking a Ronnie to like the 80s and like,
oh my God.
Yeah, just using that exposed hook and the bolt effect back then. Jesus Christ.
So,
we'd still catch now off old school lessons.
This is a beautiful thing.
The bolt then, the fixed lead then, that they'd never seen before with a bait, with a hook that's not buried in the bait.
Yeah.
You'd clean up like the guys did back then.
You make yourself look like Kevin Maddox time 10,
What kind of era would you say it was where, like realistically, if you went 70s, 80s, 90s, where if you took modern tactics now, do you think it wouldn't outperform? Where do you think it was that we hit kind of where we are now?
Oh, I still think it's getting better and better all the time.
You still think if you went back 10 years, you'd still catch a load more?
Yeah, because look at the adjustable zigs, the way that all that's come on, and just the way we're using wrapping sticks to get the absolute accurate measurement and stuff.
You still think 15 years ago you'd still carve it up compared to now, even with.
I think I wouldn't say that. I just say that the general overall depth of choice and some of the much better hooks that we've got now, and the line technology and everything's just so much better.
Yeah, compared to back then.
I can remember before rap sticks and fishing accurately and whatever else. And I was fishing a weedy water, sort of Branston Water Park, which is near me, which I've fished for sort of 30 odd years. And there was holes in the weed, and there was some really deep weed. And we just led around just with a rod, because we didn't have a marker rod back. I'm going back early 90s probably by this point. We just led around. Oh, that got a drop. Yeah, that was an easy pull through. Just put your rig back on. Cast it in the rough direction. Yeah, that was about right. And that was it.
And that
was it. We were just chucking. Oh, that was all right. Yeah. It's lined it with that tree there. That's about the right sort of distance. Not clipped. So you don't know, you could have landed 10 yards short.
Yeah. So that was my biggest thing, because obviously I'm like on the cusp of like when I used to watch my old man who like fished, in Dartford and all that lot back in the day with like Lee Jackson and the Pete brothers. I watched him, like learnt really from watching him. And I thought, and I've got in my office all the old fishing kit and all the old reels. And I think to myself, if you could take a big reel, a 3.5 pound telescope rod, you'd be in places that no one had ever fished for, ever.
That'd be the big thing, wouldn't it?
That's to me what would be the edge is.
It's like in Harefield.
Yeah.
It's apparently not that big of water, but people were really struggling getting over the bars.
Yeah, exactly.
And then getting cut off on the bars. Some of the modern snag leader now, you'd be fine with that. I'm not saying it's bulletproof, but you'd be a lot better than 11 pound Silcast or whatever else, which was the thick line back then when I first started. Most people used 8 pound, and you went, I'm stepping up to 11 pounds here.
Yeah, the black stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, I could land the ship on that.
But then again, £1.75 rods, £2 rods, you were fine with 11 pound, and unless it's big snags and cut-offs and whatever else. But you were never going to snap off. You could give it as much grief as you could on a £1.25 rod with 11 pound line. You ain't snapping unless it cuts you off.
Yeah, unless something really goes wrong.
Yeah.
With that kind of, I asked, obviously, Ed, with his one, what do you miss from the past that you wish you could bring forward now? I'm going to ask you the other way, Frank, that I know John touched on, but what would you take back now? One thing from the modern carp scene, whether it's a rig thing, it's the tackle we use, it's the availability of fish, whatever it is, what would your one thing you wish you had back then that we now have?
It's a bit different, because if you want to go back to when I started, it was so primitive.
Yeah.
Like free lining, or a 1 ounce lead was classed as normal size lead on a running rig. So, and with the bait hid inside the paste or in a particle, you'd put a couple of pieces of sweet corn on, or a maple pea side hooked. And that was really touching on being like ultra cult and
edgy,
special.
Yeah,
like,
that was
edgy,
special.
That was like you were the business if you were doing that. Because you were on a bolt rig.
Yeah.
So we were partly exposed to it. But to go back to the 70s with the stuff now, oh my God, I remember the first time that we used small, bright pop-ups on Cape's Thorn Hall, it was, with the hair rig.
Yeah.
First time me and Andy Talbot, who is still my mate to this day, he was on pop-ups, I was on bottom baits on the hair. So he'd learned off Bernard Loftus, and Bernie Loftus was the first in the Northwest on the hair with Pete Barker. They'd found out from the BCSG.
Right.
So he'd cottoned on. So he had a piece of polystyrene in his hook bait. Oh my God. Where you'd get maybe one fish every 3 sessions, he was going for an evening after work and having 15 fish.
Really? It was that much of a night and day.
And you couldn't keep the rods in. It was almost like that from a place that was quite difficult.
Right.
So it made it, obviously the fish thought they could get away with murder because the rigs were so inefficient. So they weren't scared. They were just going,
eating and not caring.
Yeah. So for about 3 years, it was electrifying. You could see it start to taper off. So the fish had modified the feeding behavior. But if you went back with the bait rockets we've got now, the SPOMs and the accuracy that we've got, and also the, we used to sit there doing a Terek mix and think, rolling it all by hand, 12 minutes.
Bait by bait.
Every day just sat there in the evening rolling. Like I used to get various girlfriends that I had at the time helping me roll the bait. We used to sit in the bedroom. That's how it always started.
Frank and all 15 of his girlfriends.
Frank, what are you up to, Frank? Just roll in boys. Not a chance.
A lot of squeaking going on there.
Why were you rolling them boys? The headboard smashing against the walls, you rolling big boys, Frank.
Yeah, I never actually got to the end. It was usually a 2-egg mix.
But one
So,
thing, pick one thing.
one
you can
thing.
take from now, back then. One anything.
The rigs.
The rigs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd struggle with everything else if you could just have the rigs.
Yeah, I mean, turning rig back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could still, obviously, you could use these modern rigs with paste on still.
Yeah.
You'd murder it. You'd just put it around a bead or a cork ball or something.
But yeah, that'd be it.
Yeah.
Take them rigs back.
I mean, the bait was another thing. But we, funny enough, some of the old paste baits that we used to make a really good boilie when we actually got onto
when
the
you
boilies.
figured out the boilie side of it.
Really natural and nice, a little bit more thought went into them.
Yeah. Yeah, rather than just a thrown together thing that's off a shelf like a lot of people are
more
using.
Bespoke and more sort of natural ingredients rather than stuff that's, not natural to fish really. I suppose a lot what we used out the cupboards then wasn't, but we used to grind up cat biscuits and stuff.
Yeah, just a bit more food-based stuff rather than just attraction.
And it wasn't all about synthetic flavours. It was all nature identical stuff or really natural gear.
Yeah, really
not
natural
identical,
stuff.
but proper food stuff.
Proper stuff. Yeah.
So, that could still, you could still bring the baits that we used as paste baits then, I suspect now,
and catch on them just as well.
on them, but the rigs would be different if we went back in time with it, so that'd be the difference. So the rigs would be the one.
With that, moving on to Jonko, I know I spoke to you a little bit about this when we discussed what the questions would be. And it was, how do you think, so I know you said about how you think it's, well, you said how you thought it's probably a little bit harder now to catch them because of what we do.
Yes.
So what things is it you think? So I know it was a really interesting one. You only touched on, I said, we'll talk about it in the podcast.
I didn't realise that's what is that what you're doing? Making sure I done my homework.
Checking in.
No, my thing that we said earlier was in the modern day, with modern day technology, abilities, tackle, blah, have we made fish harder to catch? So there is a snag, your lake from 80s, whatever, and I can bait boat 6 inches off the island and drop 10 boilies and a really critically well done rig on their heads. So now, all of a sudden, that carp, where he thought he was safe for 40 years, shall we say, can now be targeted. Same with snags, same with pads, same with loads of things that the modern, and I said, I have been part of watching people drop bait boats using the drones to find holes in weeds. So I have been at what I would call the most modern edge of what you can do now.
The highest limit.
That's the highest level of
modernizing
of a sport.
But the thing is, John, because everybody's fishing tight as you like, to the snags and all, the fish are feeding under your feet in the open water now.
But this is what we're saying, is we've now, with the way that we can now target fish and attack fish, if you like, we've now made them do things that they don't really want to do. They want to be underneath that snag next to that island, 200 yards away from you. They don't want to be out, they're hiding from predators. They're hiding from danger. Because that's what they are. They're animals. They're creatures. We've educated them to be scared all the time.
It's exactly the problem that I faced this year last year now on my syndicate. There's an island at about 150 meters out with big old snags coming off it.
Yeah.
And people are bait boating like Kia boilie underneath it. The fish have got no reason to move out.
No, they just live under there.
No.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I can chuck that sort of range. I can spot that in the right conditions, but I can't compete with what they do.
Under there.
If the fish have no reason to move, because if they've got security and food under there, they're living under there.
I've always
especially in
thought
spring.
When people feed the snags, I've just been putting bait in the back of the snag so they get on my bait. No, you haven't. You've just made sure they're not leaving that snag for the next week.
What make a bait boat have you ordered?
QE2. Got paddle one. But I think it's really interesting because I say I came into fishing when it was like
on the change.
Yeah, on the change. I guess I can remember seeing the first person use a drone for fish.
Yeah,
the ultra modern version of what we would consider, where people say, they talk about things, they forget about bite alarms, by the way. They're very, very quiet about bite alarms being part of the modern industry, because you took all those people that moan about drones, take their alarms off them, they wouldn't be fishing nice.
Bait boats.
But so I've been from that, I'm at that nice age where I have seen an evolution. And do I think it's bad? Not necessarily. I'm part of the problem. I'm not going to deny it. I've got a bait boat. I own a bait boat. I use a bait boat. But I think what we have done as we've got more technologically advanced with fishing is we've turned it into potentially sometimes a computer game where we don't ever win really.
No,
Because all we do is we make it harder for someone else, or we make it harder for the fish.
Yeah.
But I think it's dead interesting because nothing stays still. Nothing stands still.
Yeah.
We can't all live in a romantic world of, and if you don't like bait boats, don't join a lake that you allow bait boats on. Like that's kind of
Well,
That's
no one's
easy enough.
forcing you to use one.
no,
Are they?
exactly.
No.
No one's got a gun to your head saying use one. But I think the thing we touched on this morning whilst we were driving up is the fact of we've made, and it doesn't have to be a baiting pole, like that big trend of baiting poles, watching people
that's
push
changed it again,
push
hasn't it?
150 meters of baiting poles like a donkey flipping winky
A
going across a
snake
lake.
swanger.
Yeah, but the people that make me laugh is the ones that think that is completely fine. But a bait boat,
Oh, that's so wrong. Yeah.
what you got there, mate, is a bait boat on a stick.
Yeah, you just got a rubbish bait boat.
You've got like the cheapest bait, but then they go, if I spent £400 on bloody extensions, you could have bought a bait boat, you bastard.
You could
And
have
he takes
had
them
a-
carrying those things too as
Yeah,
well.
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
But I think, as I said, I'm on that nice cusp, and I said in my office, I've got all those old reels, and I got my uncle's old compacts and all that lot, and I'm thinking, I wouldn't want to use them.
Hell no.
I want like I bought some XLs because I had a big fantasy things. I'm going to buy myself loads of old cool kit, and I'll fish it. Well, I use them once, and no. What the heck are you going to use this for?
We used to have the Cardinal 55s.
Yeah, got a set.
And we thought, them are mega for chucking. You get one now, and
Yeah,
it looks like a cotton bobbin on the end of it.
That's exactly what you were saying when you were talking about casting. I'm looking at my 300s and my 55s that I got myself. I'm like, that line must come off incredibly like. It's going to be horrible.
It just went straight through the butt ring, to be
Yeah.
fair.
Well,
It didn't
yeah.
need to
You've got
uncoil.
like the closed face reels that people use. I'm like,
And the rods will just carry on flapping for about a week until
yeah,
it's landed. It's
yeah, you
like,
put it back on your bank stick and it's still like,
Yeah, there was a crack like a bullwhip.
yeah.
Yeah, as you've chucked it. I think
But as I said, from the whole aspect of is it better, is it worse? I don't think it's any different because in 10 years' time, we could have this conversation and people are using submarines, dropping rigs into silt, sinking their line back as they come. Like it's never going to end.
You'll have a robot
Yeah.
putting it all in for you and doing it. You
Could
just
do
sit
with a
there
robot
and say,
setting up and pack. So you set up, pack down robot.
that's the
I
one.
could deal with that.
what, male or female?
It's a robot, Frank.
Yeah, but if it looked like a human.
Stay away from the robots, Frank.
Moving on.
Well, yeah, we will use that as the end of that one. So, yeah, interesting thoughts, obviously, from everyone on that one. I think consensus really is that although there's some really cool things about the old carp scene and the history, you know what? Modern times, there's too many good things that we've got nowadays to go back and not have them. It takes us over to our first official viewers question. So
What you're saying? The other ones weren't official.
no, they might have been
It was
team members.
mainly Simon Duke.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Maybe
we had
Simon
Simon.
Dew.
I noticed that the other week. Simon Dew with the correct Simon Hangfire.
So, viewers' questions. Before we get going, if you've got a viewer's question, you can drop it down below on YouTube, or you can send us an email to trakker.talk@cyphering.com. And the person who's chosen to do that question every week will win a little bundle of Trakker Terminal goodies, courtesy of Ed, that will get sent out to you.
Personally.
I'll empty my tackle box.
So this week's one is from YouTube, and you'll have to forgive the name on it. It is DYVYDY11.
Could you not pick someone with an actual name?
Unfortunately not, but it was a great question, and it was, have you ever fished in silt, but not resting the rig on top of it, actually letting the rig go right into the silt? If so, how much do you let it sink in? And also, do you think it's a tactic that people don't use that would be worth using rather than going in with super buoyant hook baits to sit on top and everything like that? Yeah, I'd like to kind of hear everyone's thoughts on that one. So again, I think this will be a big old Frank question, but we'll definitely start with you, Ed, because I know you've done a fair old bit of it again over the years in the silt, and I know how you like to fish most of the time now.
Yeah, I have done it, not on purpose.
Not on purpose.
Not on purpose.
Yeah,
I
good
don't know if I
answer,
mentioned this
same
in the
as
last podcast or not, but when I was fishing on Stone Acres, I fished a silty spot, like a deeper silty spot, when it was getting a bit later on in the year, because you know it's quite noticeable out there. They're on the 8-foot bars in the summer, and then they sort of drop down to the 10, 12-foot silty gullies in the winter. So I'd found a lovely little silty gully, dropped a couple of rods in it, went out in the boat, because the rule back with them was you had to cast, but you can find your rig and then bait up.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I found the rig, everything's sitting lovely, baited up over the top, came back, did 16 hours or whatever else. I thought, wonder what's cracking off here. I hadn't had a bite. Went out, had a look, and it was all buried. The whole lot was just buried completely in the silt. And I could just see the knot just before my lead core just disappear into the silt. Lead was gone, where I could see the top of the lead clip previously. I could see the rig. I could see everything, and it was all just completely buried. So I don't know if it sunk overnight, it slowly just sunk, or the fish just fed around it, dusted it all up and dropped it on. Yeah. Didn't get a fish from it, so it had sunk at some point. So that's led me to think that a lot of time when I fish over silt, you are sinking in the silt.
Yeah, you are, inevitably.
Whether you're out there straight away or whether it sinks over a bit of time, you are. Personally, I hate the idea of that because I like the bait to be exposed where the fish can find it dead easily.
Yeah.
They could probably sniff it out and whatever else, but I think they'll have to be feeding right on it in order to get it. Whereas if it's out there and prominent and visual, it's kicking out more smells. It's going out there and it's more visual.
It's a target, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Personally, I would like to fish on top of the silt rather than in the silt. But I know not everybody feels the same way about that.
Did you catch on that session?
Yeah, I think I had one on the other rod.
The one not in the silt.
The one not in the silt. But I did catch. I actually did catch from the silt the following night. But I don't know if it was buried or not. I was sitting on top.
Yeah, so, you don't know whether it was in spite of or because of you.
In fact, I lengthened the rig by quite a lot and fished a more buoyant wafter and hooked the fish right back. Right back,
okay.
To the point where I needed forceps and it was a real pain. To
get
it out.
It properly had it.
But it was right back. So it obviously sucked it all the way back with a longer rig and then, hooked it back there before it hit the lead. So yeah, hate fishing in silt on, buried in silt. I prefer to fish on top of it. So that would be my go-to thing. So I'll fish something like a wafter or a pop-up so it sits on top or sits, towards the top of the silt.
Yeah, you want to be sat up on top of it.
Yeah.
Nice and visual then.
Yeah, 100%.
So Frank, you are obviously, Mr. Silt, Cheshire Mears and everything.
Yeah. Mr. Silt.
Mr. Silt.
That's a compliment.
Colour of his, that's how he does his hair with silt. That loves it in.
Can't let it go.
He's
Can't let it go.
So
where's that electric shop?
I refuse to believe that you haven't done it. So tell us about like the fishing deep in silt. I'm sure you've.
I've experimented.
Right. Okay.
To see. Like on one of the earlier pods, I mentioned casting across the bottom syndicate, which was silty as hell.
Yeah.
Cast under this yew tree where I could go around in the chesties to have a look with white pop-ups on, set different, distances off the bottom and with different hook lengths on, all with the same 4.5 ounce leads it was.
Right.
And it was particularly silty in that area because the silt trap from the middle lake went down and deposited a lot of the crap out of that in that area. So it was a good experiment. So I went round in my chesties and I couldn't find any 3 of them. And I thought if I was fishing there, I'd be fishing 3 mouse holes. I had to walk in the margins with my chest waders feeling for the shock leaders.
They'd gone in that
They'd gone in that much. So to do that as a valid tactic, you'd have to be a psychopath. Honestly, can you imagine?
Says Mr. Silt.
I think I'll do a swift overnighter. I'll use 5 ounce leads and a 3-inch rig.
Yeah, and
with a bottom
plunge
bait
it in.
into silt. You could sit there a whole year and not catch anything. It'd be ridiculous, especially on a low stock water. So to me, it's like getting something. Say we're feeding birds and hiding it.
Yeah.
You want it so it's visual in a place that they get used to, so that it's quicker. It's the opposite to what you want to be doing, in my opinion. Maybe someone's had it as a valid tactic, but to do it is one thing. I mean, if you use particles, you use hemp. That's a different game,
right?
In silt. So that if we're talking boilies, it's one thing, but fishing particles like mass baiting with hemp, then that's got a little bit more to it that you can actually fish into the silt because they're ripping it out and clearing areas.
Then they are digging and it's a valid tactic.
They do because it will settle into the silt and go down. So that could be a valid tactic if you're baiting up regular and you've got one spot really cooking. But inevitably they clear the silt away and they'll strip it down to the base layer underneath. So it's not really silt fishing, but you can catch doing that initially. But it's not, even then I'd still want to use a pop-up over the top or a bunch of maggots over the top or something over the hemp, So I would say no, it's not a valid thing.
With like your understanding of carp receptors and how they pick up baits and how they detect baits, and so, do you think that they're even smelling it when it's buried down in silt or knowing it's there? A bit like, because obviously they pick out food in there, or do you think generally they're stumbling across it because they're digging in the silt?
Well, don't forget there's silt and silt. There's different types of area. There's silt with bloodworm in almost like cattle when they graze fields that have been left to grow.
Yeah.
They'll go in and clean that, and that's why farmers move them from field to field. Well, carp do the same. They'll know where there's a bloodworm hatch going on, and they'll move in, and could be a completely different place from the year previous, or on a monthly basis it can rotate and move. So to just turn up and be fishing in silt, there's good silt and bad silt, so there's that.
For having that side of it as well, like smelly silt or nice fresh stuff.
Can you imagine turning up and fishing on some of that horrible silt that's disgusting, that's like, smells like bad eggs?
Yeah.
That'll overpower all your bait and everything. So any smell, even if you had a super strong, 30 mil per egg squid octopus special on or something.
Ain't working in
it's
that.
Not really going to cut it,
No.
It would have better than anything that's lower flavoured. Something like John Baker likes.
Yeah, something subtle.
Subtle, yeah. But I think, it's not a valid tactic, and I wouldn't do it. You'd advise it at all.
So same for you. You'd want to get something up on top of that silt, visual or not, but that's something that they can find and eat.
Don't forget, you're putting your freebies in, and they'll settle into it a bit. So, but there's nothing wrong with using a bottom bait on silt. But then I'd use foam so it rests gently on it.
Yeah, nice long hook link.
Yeah,
critically
exactly.
balance
I
it
wouldn't
down.
want to use short, stiff booms and stuff on it, unless I'm using a chod rig. That's why the chod's so effective.
Yeah, because it's sitting up on top of there.
Yeah, if you do it with a heavy bottom bait on a chod over silt, it's nowhere near as effective as the pop-up on it. Partly because of the mechanics of the rig, but it's just going to get less pickups.
It's just not there for them to see and eat.
No, I mean, it's obvious that sight feeding is a big feature of carp's behaviour. So why cut that out of the equation?
Why hide it from them, as it were?
Yeah. So even if it's a match the hatch bait, it's still, visual, because that's what they're feeding on.
They can see it there to eat. Yeah,
exactly. But to put it out of sight, buried in that stuff, and expect as a valid tactic, no,
not for you.
No,
not for
chance,
you.
No chance.
What's your thoughts on it, John?
I love it. Do it all the time.
Have you ever tried it all?
Yeah. So I think the thing that needs to be pointed out is I'm not talking about fishing in 5-6 foot of silt.
No.
I think a lot of lake bed has silt on. Like I've seen it from underwater stuff, from diving stuff that I've done in the past with other people, that there is always what I've called false bottom. So you can look across a lake from underwater or in the margins, you can think, oh, that's a lovely bit of flat ground. You go like that, and your hand completely vanishes. It's gone.
Blancmange on the bottom. Yeah.
So as I said, certainly would never aim to fish in that. I'd avoid that if I could anyway, naturally, because as you said, generally that deep silt has come from years and years of rot and detritus and just mingingness.
Yeah.
However, how many times have we all found the silt at the back of a gravel spot and started fishing there? Like a million times.
Well, yeah.
Like a million times. Overcast a spot, first 2 taps of gravel, add half a wrap, that's where I'm going to fish. And would I then use a bottom bait? Potentially so, because I'm assuming that's that fringe of silty area. However, deeper silt, I have used PVA bags before.
See, this is one that I wondered with.
That is because essentially, I mean, yet again, I wouldn't be plumbing it into 8-10 foot of silt, because essentially you're going to have the same thing as what you guys have got with a big leader coming out and nothing else. But, a couple of inches, 6-8 inches of silt, you can, those big bags flatten out a big old area. And I think you can get enough presentation from that they can sniff, but then I would probably only be fishing a PVA bag. I wouldn't then spread bait around, because I want them to, if they're going to be snaffling, I want them to be picking me up. And
you want them to get down and in, not up on top eating.
But no, the prospect of fishing crazy silt like you guys are talking about with knots like leaders all vanished, it is not a
chance.
And I've heard it a million times, people saying, they'll fish. You haven't.
No.
Like, I refuse to believe a fish is going 3/4 of its body depth into sit. Like I've never. Have you seen anything that would support that a fish will go 3/4 of its body depth?
I've seen them in, but not that. I've seen a head in.
Yeah, I've seen a head. No, because once they get all that in and around their face, they've got their gills that they try. Like, because surely they're not hammering. So to me, yes, you can fish in silt. Yes, you could put a bottom bait, but you're fishing the nose of a carp's depth. Not half a body. Yeah,
not fully in. See, with the bag thing, I think where you mentioned, I had a similar thing to what you had on Stone Acres. So, particular park like I've been fishing, very silty. When it felt pretty firm, I was fishing bags. if I got a decent drop-ish, I'd go out there with bags. I'd had a few fish over a couple of week period in one area of the lake. Gone up on another week, not for an overnight at this time, for a 24. So I got the boat out, fired the rods out, gone out in the boat to check the spots and just put a bit of bait over them. All 3 rods were just leaders sticking out of the... So don't get me wrong, like a big old drag line where the bags made a channel in the silt almost. But he was sat probably 3 inches down. And was I catching previously on the lucky out of the 3 rods that landed on a rock under that bit of silt? Were they always eating in silt? I don't know, but I'm the same. I couldn't, for me, I avoid silt, to be honest. I like the cleanest thing ever. I think, I couldn't cast out. Like you said, can you imagine sitting there for 2 days going, I wouldn't mind a bite now if they could find it. It'd be terrifying, wouldn't it, really, as a prospect? Yeah. So, a kind of unanimous decision of,
don't do it.
Stick to gravel.
Don't do it. On that, actually, to kind of round off the question, if you had a choice, just round the table, if you had a choice between silt or gravel, obviously we get told different stuff now in the media, always fishing the silt because everyone's on the gravel and vice versa. What are you picking, silt or gravel?
9 times out of 10 gravel, but back end of the year, the fish go into the deeper water and you can pick them up out of firmish silt.
Yeah, you'd rather the
gravel
silt
most of the time.
What would you say, Frank, as an overall silt or gravel, clean or hard, cleaner or softer?
If you're on water where it's all gravel, I want to find the silty areas.
Right, okay.
Where there's a bit of weed. And if you're on a lake that's primarily silty as hell everywhere, the firmer silt is what I'm looking for. Yeah, so but if I'm, that's how I see it. I don't see it.
You're looking for the thing that's different.
Yeah,
you're not looking for the same everywhere. You don't think you can blanket
it. There's nothing unique about it, is it? If it's like a car park, isn't it?
Yeah.
If it's all gravel, there's no real interesting feeding spots on that initially until you find them, and there will be parts where the silt's built up or these little gullies and stuff. Hopefully. And it's just any feature like that's going to stand out, isn't it? In the desert, it's like finding a little oasis.
Yeah, something's different to everything else.
Yeah.
For you, obviously, you alluded to it.
That's the best answer.
That's a really good answer. He applied so much logic as well.
Say something funny instead, Frank. Flipping logical. But no, I said generally probably the first and it sounds so cliched, doesn't it? Because it's like every old video you've ever watched, like the first few taps of gravel.
That's what you're always looking for.
I want my rig on the fringe because my thought process is basic. It is that's clear because they fed on it.
Yeah.
Are they always going to feed on? No, the spots spots do get smaller when they don't get it, but they get bigger when they get fed on. So and I've watched it from drones, modernized fishing, watching how fish come onto spots, skirt around the edge before they get the nuts to go into the spot. Middle. Yeah, because they're scared. So on the edge, first few taps, there.
That's where you're fishing. So you still want it firm though.
Another good answer.
Yeah.
It's not as good as yours, though.
No, it's not as good as yours.
So annoying.
All the answers are good. It's interesting.
Well,
what about you? No, stop.
Okay. Well, mine is, again, we've spoke about this in the past. I do like the absolute crunchiest, cleanest, graveliest spot possible, but I want it to be small. So those bigger spots, like you're mentioning, where you can get those, I don't think fishing in the middle of the spot's the right idea. It's going to take forever for them to work their way in, but I like the tiniest spots in weed or in silt, but I want firm. I used to be the other way. I thought it was really carpy to fish hinges in the silt and carry some boilies round and sit cross-legged on my bed. Stupid.
You kept the haircut from that.
I did, yeah. Short rigs, clean gravel, tight baiting. I'd put it somewhere where they can get it in their mouth. That's my thought. Put it somewhere where it's easy for them
Frank.
to... No, Frank. No. We can see that.
It might have been my clubbing days.
Going from there, hopefully that has answered...
Sorry, guys. It's my sense of humor.
I'm so glad because it's not always me. Because when you're here, it's not always me saying stuff like that.
Yeah,
I like a naughty schoolboy. Yeah.
Hopefully that's answered your question and given you a little bit of food for thought.
What was the name of the guy?
That was to DYVY11. We'll try and get your real name off your yeah, could be Dave.
R2D2.
And we'll get a bundle of gear sent out to you if you get in touch with us. If you've got any massively different opinions to that or any experiences, drop them in the comments below. We'd love to hear them. And as we've said, if you've got a question that you want us to answer on the next one, make sure to send it into trakker.talk@cyphering.com or drop it down below in the comments. That leads us on nicely to our next section that's got a few cool bits to talk about this week, and that is Trakker News.
The news from Team Trakker.
So like we said, we've got a few things to go over for the news this week. First one to go over was the film with yourself that we mentioned in the last podcast, Finding Freedom.
Yes. So as you listen to this would have been out 10, 12 days ago, something like that.
Yep.
So it's a little video that me and Simon shot where we were on the way to Italy and we thought, let's create a film on the way to Italy. So it's basically fishing through France. It's awesome. We started out on a canal just below Troyes, in that sort of region there. We literally pulled up. We got a pin off one of our Netherlands guys, Bass. Said, this canal's good. It's all right. You've got a chance of a bite there. So we dropped in on the canal, parked right behind you, swim, flick 3 rods out, bang, bang, bang. You're fishing within an hour. It's so easy to
Proper
fish.
fishing, yeah.
So easy. It's just like, park up, rods out, bivvy up, and you're just plopping it in, throwing a bit of bait over the top, and that's what we did. And you're just hoping the fish are coming past. On this occasion, we fished next to some snags, so it's a bit of I wouldn't say it's a holding area at all because it's only about 2 foot deep, but it's an area the fish pass through, and we were lucky. We got a few fish in the night. It was awesome. I think we had 3 that night. But the thing is, we only use that as a stopgap. So there was talk, should we get a hotel on the way down? It's like, no, we'll stop on the canal and then drive all the way down to the Alps. So it was literally, we got there a couple hours before dark, fished there, packed up the next morning at 9 o'clock in the morning, then just carried on down to the Alps, and we did 4 nights in the Alps. So plan A didn't work. We pulled up and it was absolutely rammed. So we did a night near there and then moved on for the next night. And it's more about the location than the size of fish. Yeah. We drove past some much bigger fish than what we ended up fishing for, but it was the area that we fished, the big mountains in the background, being in the Alps, chasing a bit of the sun as well, because it was back end of the year. It was October sort of time where it's cold in the UK, and we were in shorts and t-shirts there, and love sending the photographs back to the families there. They're all wrapped up, and I'm there in shorts with the mountain in the background going, "That's all right, isn't it?" And we did that. We fished some stunning locations on the way down, and we got some really nice looking fish.
With it now out, people obviously have watched it, but if anyone hasn't watched it, highlight moment of the video, highlight fish, or what would you say it was?
The best moment of the video for me was I was behind the camera, filming and photographing one of Simon's fish. It wasn't a massive fish. It was 30 odd, but it was a stunning fish. But the way we had it framed with a big mountain in the background and stuff. And we did all the film. We did something on the corral as well.
Yeah.
Well, I was there and gave Simon this camera back, and it's just like, check them photographs out, mate. Well, yeah, I'll have a look when I get back. Check them photographs out.
Yeah, I've seen this.
That looks awesome.
Proper
because he couldn't see it. The mountains behind
Simon,
him.
you didn't swear.
Simon, you does not swear.
He said, flipping it.
Yeah.
Flipping it. Jeepers.
Gadzooks.
But overall, real good trip.
Yeah, it was the location that made it. And this, coming from me, who's a big fish angler, tries to catch the biggest fish in the world. We sort of bypassed that to catch big fish in the, good sized fish in the Alps. And it was just, stunning location. And it from my point of view, it cost us nothing to do.
Yeah.
Because he was on the way to Italy. So my budget is fully intact.
over there.
Free session. So it was stunning. I'd do that again. It's definitely, if I was to fish in Italy again, that's the way to do it. Fish on the way down.
You're not invited anymore, Ed.
I noticed you filled the trip without me. But if you've not seen Finding Freedom yet, watch
really
it.
good film.
And we'll be shooting a few more of them in the future. It's just,
definitely.
Just lovely.
Like it's a feel good film of the journey in it, really, more than the going chasing one big. And it's a real good video. The next one that will it have just come out now is the Frank winter session with myself and Frank.
That was a few days ago.
Yep. So that was Frank. You won't have watched this at this moment because it's still on my cutting desk floor. I've not quite finished it, but obviously we went down to Bluebell, didn't we, for a few nights?
Yeah. Oh, that one. Yeah.
That was
For a second, I was a bit sort of thinking, which one was it?
I
understand that.
So we went down to Bluebell.
Yeah.
That one's out now. Really interesting session, wasn't it? I mean,
unique, very unique.
Yeah. So you did something quite different on that one, didn't you?
Yeah.
you can allude to enough to get people to go watch it.
When we were talking earlier in the podcast about the 70s and that, and one of the baits that we used that everybody uses to this day, it's still one of the best baits ever, was bread.
Yeah.
So we'll say no more about that, but it's with a twist on it, my twist, and it's totally unique. It was basically an experiment on camera that I knew would work as long as the fish were in the area. And it did work nicely.
Yeah, it worked really well. I mean, we went down on the back of the lake fishing really poorly.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, we got there and it started doing a few fish on it. Yeah, we both managed to get a few for the cameras. Yeah. Obviously, both fish very differently. I fish kind of more. Well, I took
conventional, really.
I took a bit of Frank inspiration and got the odd singles wanged out at one point that worked for me. But yeah, what you did was quite different. And if you've not watched it yet, go and check it out, because actually it's made me think, and we've spoke a little bit about it since and stuff. And
on the next session after that, I used the same baits on the syndicate.
Oh, did you really?
But I did it on one rod, and the one rod was used to fish.
Was the one that did it, yeah. So, kill a little tactic with the
and I took that to Tenerife and cut some mullet on it as well.
On that baits as well. Did you actually? Absolutely brilliant, yeah. No, really interesting one, and hopefully one that you guys have watched and liked. It was, interesting one, definitely. Yeah. We've got next one coming out this Sunday is Public Dreams 8 with very own Marv White on it, isn't it, as well? So
Marv, our product developer, went out with Bass, because obviously Bass is our sort of expert sort of fishing in the public lakes in France and Belgium and wherever else. So they went out there and they went to a couple of different venues, because Marv's Marv's never done the public fishing before. Marv's
never done it in France before.
Marv's never done it in France before.
Not done? No.
Oh,
really?
When I spoke to him about it, he just, what am I getting picked up? Well,
no, you're driving.
I think that was what he's more daunted about, was the driving in France.
Did you tell him it's that they drive on the other side or whatever?
No, we told him to drive backwards. Got reverse everywhere.
So we threw Marvin at the deep end. Not only did he have to drive in France and Belgium, but he also had to fish some waters a little bit out of his comfort zone. So we started off easy on him, because me and Bass come up with a little plan. We started off easy on him. He fished these awesome looking Belgian waters, these small, intricate, sort of broken up little lakes. And he loved that.
Very English fishing.
Very English fishing. They caught some stunning old fish. I don't want to give too much away, but then we took Marv out of his comfort zone, and Bass took him to this big French water where they had to use boats and walk a long way to fish. And I don't think Marv was too comfortable with that.
No,
so
I heard on the quiet that since he's come back to England, he's sold all of his boat fishing equipment. We'll just say that. That one, I think, I know I've had a watch of the cut of it. It's a really good video. And that'll be out this Sunday.
It'll be out this coming Sunday.
Yeah, perfect.
Well worth a watch.
We are throwing out some content, aren't we?
Yeah.
Some bang, some, not just any old, quality content.
Yeah, you think there 3-week period. You've had the Finding Freedom European trip. You've had me and Frank being noddies down on Bluebell, a podcast, and then this one with Marv out there. Like, there is some, there's some gear going out there.
We've shot a lot this year, and the guys have been editing hard. I know you lot have from sort of October, November, December, and now all the videos are ready that we've shot. So we've had to hang on for a few of these, because shooting videos in winter is hard going, and I think it looks nicer as well in the spring, summer, and autumn. So we've shot a lot through those 9 months, and now it's editing time for you guys.
Now it's chaos time, innit? I mean, there's still more big projects to come. What we on now, like a 2-week period where we seem to have like a bit of editing time, and then it's going to be back into chaos. I'm guessing you are.
Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, you're out.
I'm out next week.
Nice.
There's a couple of those bigger special ones we did as well, isn't there?
Yeah. Still some big ones to come.
There's a few more coming up. The one where we did in France, Parco one, that's still to come. So there's some good videos.
Yeah, let's just say 2026, what's already been filmed that's coming out this year is going to be awesome. What is planned for this year is going to be even better. We have got so much planned, from obviously more of the underwater stuff that you're going to be seeing, more European fishing, some more English fishing as well. I think it's going to be an exciting year, definitely, when it comes to content. Moving from there, a little bit of a product update. So the Levelite ELS bed systems that came out on the last launch are now in stock, I believe, are they?
They are indeed, yes. And I know you two have both done content on them. They've both used them, and we've.
Mine.
I've said it before, haven't I? Best bed I've ever used.
Yeah, you've said best bed you've ever used.
Yeah.
Mine smells really bad now because I've said it before. I was using it to take the dog fishing with me.
All right.
And
Just a general hygiene issue we have to address on the podcast.
Muddy Spaniel, this time of year, foot of your sleeping bag. Yeah,
It's a great name for a real ale, that.
What, Muddy Spaniel? I'll have a pint of the old...
Country club, yeah.
The Muddy Spaniel.
The Muddy
I
Spaniel.
wondered what you were doing them chum mixes.
But yeah, no, I've been...
It's a jar of peanut butter next to his bed.
It goes downhill quick, this podcast for you two.
But happily, it is a female dog.
But no, it's a very, very good veg hair.
No, I've been really liking it, and until it gets back to lightweight spring fishing for me, I think I'm going to keep using it, to be honest, and then go back onto my oval when it comes to skipping around a bit more on the barrow. But yeah, awesome bit of kit. I know obviously it's been the shows, and how was like the reception to it at Den Bosch with the giant race of Dutch people? What did they think of it there? Obviously people...
Yeah, Den Bosch is always a popular show that we go to year on year, and it's probably the biggest carp show.
Yeah.
I know the big one's really big, and we've got Prague coming up as well. That's a really big show, but they're mixed shows. So in terms of just carp anglers that you're talking to 16,000, whatever it is, 17,000, just carp anglers. And it's such an awesome show to do. And the reception we get across there in Holland from the Dutch guys, the Belgian guys, the Germans, the French as well. And we're getting more and more English across in Den Bosch.
Yeah,
yeah,
you see,
yeah, getting a lot now.
Trips now, don't he?
Yeah,
do a bit of fishing and do the show.
There's me trying to speak, talking slow English, and it's oh, you're right, mate.
How you doing, mate?
I'm from Yorkshire. So it's such a brilliant show for us to do, and I love doing it year on year. So
what are our next ones now? I'm not going to say what the next one's called.
Say the next one, Adam.
I can't remember now how it. No, Mannheim.
Yeah, Mannheim.
Nailed it. So Mannheim show is next week. Is it as of this? And then
the week after that, we are all working shows. The week after that.
Oh yeah, because there's two in there.
I'm not.
You're not? I thought you was doing the Essex show, which is no longer in Essex anymore.
No.
Oh, you're not? Oh dear. Well, John is.
What are you? I thought you were as well.
Nope, I have got
holidays.
No, I don't know how I've managed it. No, I actually have. Yeah, I've got holidays. Sorry.
I was going to say literally because by the end of this podcast, you will be.
Names on the sheet.
Yeah. So. No, I think I'm only at Doncaster and the big one this year.
I'm at the Essex Kent show.
Nice. Oh, yes.
Yeah, the Essex
back home.
Me and Frank aren't making it to that. We've got to take one for the team, haven't we, Frank?
Oh, what a crying shame. Where are you off to, by any chance?
Palmer in Italy.
In Italy.
We will suffer the travel for that, and that.
Wait there, hang fire. What? When was this discussed? I feel like I wasn't in this meeting.
No, we weren't present.
They went right then. We got two shows. One's in Italy at Palmer. One's in John's at Essex. So obviously anybody who's going out to the Italian show, if you're listening to this and you're going out to that one, you're going to get to go and meet Frank and Ed on there as well as a load of our other guys. And if you're going to the Essex/Kent show, unlucky, you've got John Flewin. Other better people will be there. It's not just me on my own, you idiot.
It's not just you with a bivvy outside in the car park.
Yeah. Me trying to poke under on cast into that blooming pot.
But yeah, middle of show season now, aren't we? And some really good ones coming up. Mega exciting. I love the show. Even though I'm not on this one, but
yeah, it's good to see.
I love the shows I'm coming
having
to.
A word in a minute.
Yeah, that's it. As soon as we come out of this, I'm getting screwed onto some shows, aren't I? So that kind of rounds it up for the news this week and takes us on to viewer captures. Again, good one this one because you're getting to see an actual viewer's captures, not just one of us or our team members. So I've got a couple for us to have a look at that have been sent in this week. Again, before we get going, if you want to send in your captures, send them in to trakker.talk@cypherint.com. Nice little bit of detail about the capture with your images, and it's your chance to win yourself a copy of Frank's book, Every Bit of Blue.
I'm doing it again because this got a lot of likes.
People loved this. Go on, hand model it fully. There we go.
Chatting to my nails. Yeah, I have.
So yeah, you can win yourself one of those. The entries for this week, we've got two different ones, but at the same time, two bits of a different story with them. So we'll start off with Tom Howard. Tom had been out on a trip to France with his partner, and they'd had a 42, a 62, and a 32 so far in the week. And
nice.
They mentioned that you'd love this, Frank, because it was a bit of a premonition. Yeah. The night before, they've sat there and gone, we really need a 52, don't we? So here it is, Tom holding it up. A 52-pounder from a trip out.
That looks like me.
That does look like you.
Looks like a slimmer version of me with better eyes.
That'll be you when you've lost a few more pounds. But yeah, for anybody listening, not viewing, it's quite a long fish, all scarry scratches down its side, and a load of like starburst tails down the back end.
Starburst tails?
It's got starburst tails.
Starburst tail.
Starburst scales down the back end of its tail. Say nice fish. And an interesting one with that, like you always say, don't you? You have that feeling before you have.
And how big was it?
52, that one was. So that was 52 pound. Somewhere in France.
Right,
yeah, I've not
just somewhere in France.
A lake in France.
That was nice fish, that was.
Yeah, really nice fish. The next one is one that he's not mentioned the venue, but I'm pretty sure we can figure out which one it is off the background. But this is Liam Banks with a 47 pound 2 ounce. Awesome common carp.
Yeah, boy.
So that one is, like I say, 47 pound. Is that from?
Yes, I reckon.
Yeah, it's got to be in it.
Yeah, Baden Hall.
I'm
pretty sure that's one of the ones from Baden Hall.
I've never been, but it looks like a train line.
That's railway line.
Oh, is that?
That's those bottom, that bottom, the corner of the bottom bank.
I think he said it's called Homer, so I don't know if that's
Homer.
If anyone knows, that's one of the known ones in Baden Hall. But yeah, that one's a lovely fish.
Yeah,
so
it's a mega fish, that.
If you're listening and not watching, John, describe that one for us.
It's a big, beautiful. It's an absolute world common.
The proportions are perfect.
Yeah,
it's got a bit of a cool head shape as well, hasn't it? It's not just
it's got that long head on it without being a breeze block, but it's a breeze block of a carp. And
beautiful.
Nice colours, really nice colours,
beautiful,
really nice colours.
Beautiful.
There we go. There's even a water shot of that one as well for you because you love a water shot,
and
John.
He was smiling.
He is smiling.
You know how much I love a smile.
He is smiling. I mean, we've got big cheesy grins on them both. Yeah. So the question goes round the table for these ones. Obviously, we've got a 47 pounder from England. Lovely common from Baden. Or then we've got that one for Tom, 52 pounds with a bit of a story behind it. Obviously, it was part of a 32, 42, 52 and a 62. Votes around the table. Which one are we going to go for, Ed?
Oh, I don't know. The English picture is a much better picture because it's a daytime shot. I'd like to see that mirror in a daytime shot because it's bleached out by the flash there. And I think in the daytime, that would be a nice dark colour on its back and it would probably pop out there.
It's almost two-tony in it as well. The front
two-tony,
Yeah. But it captures the moment nicely, big smile on his face, so he's really happy to catch it. If we look purely on the photograph and the fish, I'd probably go with the common.
You're going to go with the common?
I think that's a more prestigious fish, but if he'd have sent the 62 in from France, then I might have been swayed a bit more.
You might have picked the 60.
Such a slut for a 60-pound fish.
I think, I was just trying to see that. Oh, so that one actually was, that one for Tom Howard was Christmas week as well. That might make it a bit more special to you. But you've gone with, you're picking the common, are you? So you're going to pick Liam with the
I'm going to pick the common, yeah.
And what are they going to win, these guys, for this?
A copy of your book, Frank, hopefully, as long as you've brought some more.
I'm probably going to ruin it. They can both have one.
So that's it. Frank's gone, sod you.
Saint Frank. Mute yourself. This is a section of the podcast.
Everybody's winning. Because
Frank will send you a book.
Because it's a new pod.
Yeah.
And it's these are some of our first entries. I can't decide. They're both nice, so they both get a book.
There we go. Then. So we're almost redundant there. I think,
enjoy your book, boys.
Can we just mention John's still not got a book?
I'm sending every picture in. I'm sending a picture in every week.
Still not got a book.
I've got a pissing book. I feel like another podcast owner who hasn't got a mug.
No, it's a good point. Yeah, it's a good point. I think absolutely great then. So Liam Banks and Tom Howard.
Tom, I'd have voted for you, mate, just so you know, right?
Yeah. We will be in touch and we'll get your addresses and get you one of the copies of Frank's book sent out to you. Again, if you want to try and win one yourself, send in your catch shots to trakker.talk@cyphering.com. They don't have to be crazy giant worldies or a great story and a great photo is what we want to see. Yeah. So get them sent in and we'll pick a few on every episode. And Frank will only give one book away in future.
From now on, it's one. From now on, it's one.
But that's kind of everything we've got to go over this week. So without further ado, it's time for us to disappear off and let you get back to your life. Thank you very, very much for listening and we'll catch you again soon. You were all meant to say bye.
I thought we should say bye.
Trakker Talk, a carp fishing podcast.